So here's why your handyman is worth $100 an hour. Because everybody went to college instead of learning how to fix stuff, because everybody told them if you don't go to college, you're going to end up doing construction or flipping burgers for a living. So now everyone that went to college, half of them are out there looking for work that'll even pay them enough to pay off their college loans, while those of us who learned how to fix stuff are out here raising our prices, and raising our prices, just trying to find that point where somebody will say no so that we can get a day off. And that's why your handyman is worth $100 an hour. So welcome back, all you beautiful bulletproof handyman and women, to the Bulletproof Handyman Business YouTube channel. I've got a list here in front of me of all the reasons that you need for why you're worth $100 an hour, or $200, or whatever it is that you're charging. But this list doesn't even really matter. You shouldn't need reasons. Your value for your service is your value for your service. There's a market that dictates these things, and the market has spoken, and the market has said there are too many people with college degrees looking for white-collar jobs, and there are not enough people who know how to fix stuff. That's the bottom line. So we're just going to go through this list. I'm going to take you all the way down, and we're going to go not very in-depth, but a little bit into each of the reasons why we suddenly find ourselves in a position where we can charge really great money for the work that we do. So, the first one I already went over. Everybody went to college. Second one I wrote on my list because you need to provide, and shit is crazy these days. And it's true. Shit is absolutely crazy these days. Inflation is insane. Our national debt is insane. Some things are up 50%, some things are up 5%, but everything's up. And there's no reason to think that it's going to change anytime soon. We don't have an election coming for a while. So, stuff is crazy. And in my opinion, whatever value it is that I can receive for the time that I put in for my work and for my efforts, whatever that value is, I'm going to get that value and I'm going to invest it into my family, because that's where that money belongs and that's what my time should be going towards. And by the way, I've got a little bit of a cough today, so if I cough a few times, I apologize, but my allergies are getting weird. Next, I wrote, because a doctor mowing a lawn has options. So what does that mean? Well, let's say you wanted your lawn mowed and you're trying to find somebody to mow your lawn. If you ask somebody who makes $10 an hour otherwise and doesn't have any other options, they're probably worth $10 an hour to mow your yard, unless they won't do it for less than 20, in which case they're worth 20 if you can't find anybody at 10. Same thing with a doctor. You can ask a doctor to mow your lawn, but if a doctor's used to making $200,000 a year and he's pulling, I don't know, $250 an hour, if a doctor's getting $250 an hour, then maybe he'll agree to mow your lawn, but if he does, he's going to want $250 an hour. He's not going to want to give up his time for less than what he is worth. So you guys as handymen, y'all are all out there with skills that other people need, that are very hard to find. And a lot of people are willing to pay $100 an hour for you to go do those jobs. So if somebody else wants you to do, let's say, moving boxes from the driveway to the shed in the backyard, if that's what they want you to do, they might look at you and say, that's unskilled labor, how can you charge so much for just moving boxes? The answer is, because there's other work out there I could be doing today instead of moving your boxes, and that other work pays $100 an hour. If you want me to give up that other work and not make that $100 an hour over there, you're going to need to replace it with $100 an hour over here. Pretty simple, I think. Next, I wrote, because you're selling logistics. So what does that mean, that you're selling logistics? When you're working, by the way, this channel, guys, for those who maybe don't watch this all the time, my channel specifically, we're geared towards servicing property managers. We work on rental properties exclusively. Not everybody on this channel. Most of them work for some homeowners as well. But this channel is about working for property managers. That's a business-to-business relationship, and these property managers get a lot of work orders for a lot of houses. And normally, with a handyman who charges less, they're going to have to hold his hand a lot. They're going to have to answer a lot of questions. They're going to have to keep track of them. He's not going to be reliable. They're going to have to solve a lot of problems that he creates. It's just a big mess. The entire logistics of everything involved with trying to have, say, you're a property manager with 400 properties, and they've all got issues, and they all need to get fixed, and they all need to get fixed fast. There's so many logistics that go into this that one of the reasons you can charge the money you can charge is because you're taking care of those logistics as well. You're taking maintenance off of their plate completely, because the idea is you're good enough that they just send you work orders and then you send them invoices, and they don't need to be involved in any other part of the process. That's logistics. Logistics costs more than just fixing a toilet. It's also the logistics of making sure that toilet gets fixed soon and professionally on a schedule, done right. Pretty simple. Again, these are all simple. Another reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour is because $100 an hour isn't really $100 an hour when you're running a business. And I'm going to be very clear that I personally don't like going into these particular specifics, because I've seen so many people post so many things that make it look like $100 an hour by the time it gets to our pocket is really $5 an hour. I don't throw all these things out there. But you do have overhead, and if you're running a business, you do have taxes. You have your business license that you pay for and any other licenses that you're paying for on a frequent basis. You have your business insurance. You have your accountant. You have Jobber software, which is the plan I was on before I started working with them was $350 a month, and it was well worth it, but that was another expense that I had. You have maintenance on your vehicle, all the miles you're putting on your vehicle. You have gas. You have your vehicle insurance. You have tools that you have to buy, tools that you wear out, and tools that go bad that you have to replace, tools that you have to upgrade as the industry upgrades and the materials and the products upgrade. There's a million expenses to running a business, so that $100 an hour, right off the bat, it's not $100 an hour. Maybe it's something more like $50, maybe even $40. I don't know exactly where it lands. It's going to be different for everybody. But $100 an hour is not $100 an hour. The next reason why your handyman is worth $100 an hour, I wrote, because that's what it costs for you to choose work over family or personal time. So what this means for me anyways, I value my family more than I value anything. They are the most important thing in the world. I've got 4 kids, one of them's grown, the others are very young, 2 of them are identical twins that are 2 years old. I've got my wife, and I've got a community of people who depend on me and whom I'd like to spend time with. I have friends that I rarely get to see. If you want to take even more of my time, I'm already charging over $100 an hour for my time, and I still can't get the work to go away. There's just always more of it, and it all needs to get done. So to take more of my time, my personal time, my family's time, if you want some of that after everybody else has already taken all of it, you're going to have to pay me a lot of money to give up even more time with my family, because the truth is, for $100 an hour, I would rather be home with my boys, playing with them, teaching them, cuddling with them, just spending time with them in general. I would rather be with them and with my wife and with my extended family, or camping with a friend that I never get to see. I would rather do that than to be doing yet another toilet stay. So you're going to have to make it worth my while. And what makes it worth my while is more than $100 an hour. All right, next. What's the next reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour? Is because your handyman, if he's a handyman that is worth that, is doing 3 times the work of a handyman that's charging $33 an hour. And what I mean by that is there's 2 types of handymen out here. There are those of us who are trying to run a business and who are trying to build something. And then there's the rest of them out there, they're trying to make a little bit of money. Whether it's to go to the bars at night, whether it's to just maybe not have to work a whole lot but barely get the bills paid and just kind of get by, or maybe they have really important priorities that truly are important, but they're not trying to make a lot of money. And then you got the rest of us, like I said, that are trying to build something, that are trying to build families, build businesses, build communities, and build a good, large, respectable life around themselves. So we are out there working 3 times as hard. What you don't see is that when we show up to change, let's say to change your faucet, compare me to a lot of other handymen. When I show up to change your faucet, number 1, I have all of the tools that are necessary for every type of faucet, because they're not all the same. I have all of the tools that I know I'm going to need to get that done as quickly as possible. So what should have been 45 minutes for me might be 30 minutes or might be 20 minutes or however many minutes, because I came with the correct tooling, because I thought it through in advance. It's also because I came with a faucet, because I probably went on Zillow when I was at home and you didn't see that, but I went on Zillow, I looked at pictures of your rental, I saw what kind of faucet was there, and I brought an appropriate replacement faucet with me. So I didn't have to show up at your house, look at your faucet, scratch my head, and then run to Home Depot. Also, I keep a very nice inventory in my van at all times. There's all kinds of things like supply lines and shut-off valves, any number of things that you're going to need to change that faucet. So one handyman might show up and go to Home Depot and buy your faucet and come back and get halfway through changing it and then realize he didn't get a shutoff valve and you have a leaky shutoff valve and he's not prepared for that. So now he's going back to Home Depot again and he's buying a shutoff valve and he's coming back. And then he gets closer to the end and he goes to reconnect your existing supply line and he realizes it was 25 years old. The rubber washer is absolutely gone, and now it's leaking, so now he's got to go either get another rubber washer or a new supply line. So he just took 3 trips to Home Depot. He took twice as long as he should have because he didn't have the proper tooling. He also just didn't have the experience because he's not out here pounding the pavement like we are, so he's only changed 5 or 6 faucets in his entire lifetime, so he's slower at it. So by the time you're all said and done, that guy's charging as much or almost as much as I am. The difference is I just made myself better and faster at it, and I killed myself. And if that meant I had to get into an extremely awkward, uncomfortable position that messes up my shoulder because my shoulder's a little bad, and I have to just stay in that position knowing my shoulder's going to hurt for a week, I get in that position and I knock it out. Because again, I've got a family depending on me and I'm trying to provide for them. Whereas the other handyman doesn't put himself in that position. He wiggles and squirms and he finds some other way to do it and he gets a different tool and he makes sure he doesn't hurt his shoulder. There are those of us out there who are doing what we need to do to be as fast and efficient as possible to get to that next job, to get that next paycheck, to provide even more for our families, and we've made ourselves 3 times more valuable than the handyman who's charging $33 an hour. Next. Another reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour, oh, actually I already went over this one, I kind of included in that one, is because we're breaking our body. There's a million examples for this, but some of us are out there putting up with what we need to put up with and doing what we need to do. I can't tell you the number of times that I've been in a situation where really I should have had a helper, where I needed to do something that my body was not built to do, at least not at 42 years old. And what did I do? I found some other way to get it done. Some painful, uncomfortable, possible injury-causing way to get it done. And I made it happen because I've got a family I need to provide for, and sometimes I just go out there and make shit happen, and that's what a lot of us are doing. Next reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour, and this is a relatively important one, is because we take on the liability. We take on a lot of liability. Now, do we have insurance? Yes, we do. But let's take that shutoff valve, for example. Let's say I change a shutoff valve. Now let's say I change a shutoff valve every 3 days. And let's say I do this for 5 or 6 years. I have changed hundreds, if not thousands, of shutoff valves. And no matter how good I am at changing them, one day one of them is going to fail. Maybe it's not even my fault. Maybe it is. Who knows? But the point is it's going to fail. And if it fails the right way, it's going to flood the kitchen. And if it floods that kitchen, I now have the liability for that kitchen for that failed shutoff valve I put in. Now, hopefully, it's not my fault and I can prove that. But I still am going to need to pay for a lawyer just to make that clear in small claims court. Also, yes, I have insurance. But the insurance is going to come in, and I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they may end up paying something, but they're going to find every way possible to not pay for that new kitchen, to not pay to replace all those flooded cabinets and all that drywall and flooring and the hallway and the living room that it went into as well. By working on your house, especially if we're doing any plumbing or electrical or anything like that that can fail later and cause expensive damage, that's our liability. And those of us that are smart understand that. We understand that we need to be prepared someday to be able to fork up $25,000 or take out a $25,000 loan to fix a house that we worked on that got damaged by our work, whether it was our fault or not. Or, like I said, to hire the lawyer who's going to go to court and prove that it wasn't our fault. It's a very big liability, and if you're smart, you're charging enough that over the course of the years and the decades, you're going to accrue enough wealth to be able to take those hits when they come. Another reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour is because we'll still be around in 5 years. Again, this is for those of us that are worth that much, that are actually trying to build something here. We're building a business that we anticipate continuing to do in 5 years. We're not between jobs. We're not filling in 6 months of unemployment, going and doing some side work just to put some cash in the bank so that we can keep getting unemployment. That's not what we're doing. We're going to be around in 5 years, and we're going to be around in 10 years. And again, take the shutoff valve as an example. If it doesn't destroy the house, if that shutoff valve fails in 5 years, and it does a decent amount, let's say $3,000 worth of damage to that kitchen, we won't need to bring in insurance. We'll be here, and you'll be able to call us back. Our property managers can call and say, hey, the shutoff valve that you put in 5 years ago just failed and it did a lot of damage in the kitchen. And of course, this is an unrealistic scenario, but you can pick your own scenario. Maybe it's an outlet that you installed in somebody's garage and it caught on fire and it did 3,000, it burnt some siding on the side of the garage and luckily it didn't spread, but now somebody's got to replace that siding. I'm worth $100 an hour because I'm the guy that you're going to be able to call in 5 years and tell me that something happened and it caused damage and it was from work I did. I'm going to be here and I'm going to go back and I'm going to do that work for free. And I'm charging enough today to cover that when it happens later, because I will be around at that time to get that done. Next reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour is because property managers need emergency calls and loyalty doesn't come free. Your property managers, guys, they're not loyal to you. I have two that I would say are loyal to me. Maybe I could even boil that down to one, but I think I have two that are truly loyal to me, where we have a code, we're grown men who grew up in a different time, who have just a code. Call it a man code, if you will. But we understand who each other is, we respect each other, and we treat each other a certain way. And I've done favors for them that they recognize. I don't need them to thank me profusely. They've done favors for me. They don't need to thank me profusely. What I need to do for them and what they need to do for me, and what I know we will do for each other, is we will have each other's back and we will support each other. However, most property managers are not that. If they want your loyalty, if they want you to get out of bed at 2:30 in the morning because a storm just broke out a window and now rain's getting in the house, if they want that, that comes at a price. And that price isn't just the price that you charge that night. For you to be the guy who's going to always make sure that she's taken care of, that property manager is always got somebody on the ball taking care of her business for her so that she can focus her attention elsewhere, that comes with a price. And one of those prices is we're more expensive. If you don't like that, you can go find another handyman that's cheaper. He's not going to be around in 5 years like I was talking about. He's not going to answer his phone at 3 o'clock in the morning because he doesn't need more money today. He's not worried about what you need. He's worried about what he needs. My loyalty costs about $100 an hour. Another reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour is because we are pros. And by pros, what I mean, not pros in terms of the work. Let's rephrase that. We are professionals. We make sure that the tenant experience, the experience the tenant receives from the moment they submit that work order and it gets sent to me, my tenants have an experience of working with a professional company, and that reflects directly on the property managers and the property management company. Tenants don't look at a handyman and say, well, he's not related to the property management company. He did a bad job, he was unprofessional, and that's on him, but I'm still happy with my property management company. That's not how it works. If a tenant submits a work order to a property management company, they expect that work order to get taken care of in a reasonable amount of time and correctly, and by somebody who doesn't smell like weed or alcohol when they show up, somebody who shows up on time, somebody who calls them quickly once that work order comes in, so they're not sitting around for 4 days wondering why they haven't heard anything from anybody. That costs $100 an hour, guys, or it costs $200 or whatever it is you charge. Like I said, there is a premium that gets charged to have a professional run things for you in such a way that all of your tenants are happy and they're not complaining to you, and they're not looking for a different house to rent with a different property management company because they're sick of your property management company not having things taken care of by proper vendors in a proper amount of time, done a proper way. So that costs money. We're professionals. We give your tenants a professional experience. We also give your homeowners a professional experience. The people that own the homes that property managers are renting out for them, they also have interactions with us. They read our estimates, they read our quotes, they read our invoices, they have questions that get sent to us. Oftentimes we end up dealing with them directly because it's a job that's not a job that the property manager is typically going to be in charge of, like larger semi-remodel type jobs. We are professionals, and that costs a premium. Next reason that you need to have next reason that handymen are worth $100 an hour is because we follow through. And again, this is of course only the ones who do follow through. But we follow through. We are pros in terms of the work itself, meaning we do show up on time. We do the work correctly. We don't hack things. And trust me, we know how to hack things. We know of a hack for just about every job. And we also know how long approximately that hack is going to last before somebody finds it and before it fails. And we don't do that. We follow through. If you send us a work order and you say, we have a new tenant moving in on the 10th, can you please have this done on the 8th so that the cleaners and the landscapers can get everything else wrapped up on the 9th so the tenant can move in on the 10th? Those of us who are worth $100 an hour, one of the things we're charging for is the fact that if we take that job and we agree to get it done by the 10th, or by the 8th rather, because the tenant's moving in on the 10th, if we agree to get it done by the 8th, you bet your sweet ass it's getting done by the 8th. There's no way it's not getting done by the 8th, barring something happening that literally makes that impossible. So it's going to get done. We're going to follow through. And again, you're free to go hire a handyman who charges $33 an hour, a third that we charge. You're free to go hire him, but if you do hire him, keep in mind, if he doesn't feel like getting it done by the 8th, and he's not a professional who's building a business to provide for a family, who's taking this work seriously and charging appropriately for it, if that's not what he is, you may or may not have that done by the 8th. You may have tenants moving in on the 8th without a working toilet in that house. So getting shit done on time, the way it should be, correctly, every single time, having somebody who follows through on what they do always, that costs a premium, and that premium is at least $100 an hour. And then finally, guys, the biggest reason, this is the absolute biggest reason that your handyman is worth $100 an hour, that you are worth $100 an hour if you do this job correctly. And that's because it's none of your business. It doesn't matter why I charge what I charge. You came to me asking me to do some work for you. I didn't come to you begging you for work. You found me, you came, and you requested my time. I told you how much I value my time, and I don't need to give you reasons why my time is worth that. Now, you don't need to go look your property managers in the eye and talk to them all sternly the way that I'm saying that. But this needs to be your interior monologue to yourself, as you need to always remember you don't need to justify your $100 an hour. The justification for the value of your work is that people are willing to pay you that much. And they're willing to do that over and over and over again. Property managers have been sending me work, the same property managers, for years now. My rates have only gone up. They haven't gone down. And despite my rates, which so many people seem to think are absurdly expensive, I have clients who are willing to continue paying me that, and they're happy to continue paying me that. They never complain about it because my rates are even over time. They go up over time, but they don't spike around. I don't wake up one day and just double my prices. I play around with things, the market changes, the value of my work changes ever so slightly, inflation happens, so my rates do continuously move only in an upward direction over a long period of time. But the bottom line is I'm worth what people are willing to pay me, and my people are willing to pay me what I charge. And I don't need to explain to a potential new client who approached me asking me to do their job. I don't need to explain to them why my rates are what they are. All I need to do is tell them my rates, and I am perfectly happy to do the work if they accept my rates, and I am also perfectly happy for them to allow somebody who costs less than me to do that work. So, biggest takeaway from this video, you don't need to explain yourself, and you also don't need to be an asshole about not explaining yourself. You just need to simply say, look, there's a lot of factors that go into my rates. I'm not going to go over all of them in detail. These are the rates that I've been charging for quite a while. My clients are happy to pay them, and it just simply is what my rates are. However, I won't be offended if you do have somebody cheaper and they'll do a good job for you. I'm very happy for you to be able to use their services instead of mine, and let them just give you a yes and no. So to close things out, guys, in the description, there's a link to Jobber for a free trial and an exclusive discount of 20% off for the first 6 months. That's my exclusive discount. I think they have other sales going on right now as well, so you should check them out. There is a newsletter you can sign up for with a link down there. There's insurance you can get with a link down there. My description, also free documents. Lots of free documents. I'm doing a whole lot of things these days, including a big property inspection checklist I just finished that came along with the video, and for which there will be a follow-up video. All these documents, guys, are free. There are no paywalls on my channel for anything ever. All of the information, if it's information you need to run your business, it is not behind a paywall. I will find and make sponsors and others pay for my time that I put into creating these videos and all of this content for you. No paywalls for you, so please do check out my description, see what's in there, if any of it's useful to you. It's all from me to you for free. Other than that, I hope y'all are out there killing it, and I will see you next time.